Yes, legends. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic today. We'll be analyzing the situation, getting some scenarios ready for the price of Bitcoin. Pre-Fomc, guys, make sure to destroy the like button on your way in, and we are going to be breaking down right away the scenarios that we could be looking at here for the next coming hours between today and tomorrow. The next movements, guys. Smash up that like button and let's dive in straight into the content, into the comment section, of course, first of all, and say hello to the beautiful community. But first of all, step by step, nothing in this video is financial advice, guys. Okay, make sure to treat this as educational content only. Said that, let's dive in right away, okay? Through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community and see what's going on. Today's a big day, guys. Today's a big day. Just in about an hour and 10 minutes from now, I won't be covering the interest rates or the press conference. I know Devil will be going live. Anybody that knows Devil, if you don't know Devil, make sure to go and follow Devil because he'll be doing the Fomc press conference. Let's say hello to the beautiful community and let's go, guys. Hope you had a fantastic day. Hope you having some fantastic trades. I'm in no short, but I'm actually interested in a short, guys. I'm feeling a bit bearish with the information that we have, okay? There is a bullish case. There is a few bullish scenarios, but there are some local bearish scenarios that we need to talk about, okay? We need to talk about them. Today's price action has been phenomenal, I have to say. You know, anybody that's, you know, interested in scalping and day trading, basically. Very, very nice movements here. We'll go through these scenarios right away. I do think that the price has a good chance to take out these highs. This is an interest zone, guys. This is a very interesting zone, especially if we do get the interest rate cuts, Fomc press conference. The people that are voting for a pump and dump, right? Well, let's take a look at that poll right away before we go through the comment section. Pump, then big dump. You know, my take is this one as well. After interest rate and Fomc, pump, then dump. 43%, guys. I'm actually in this same camp. I'm in the same camp of a pump and dump. We pump and we continue pumping 32%. So there's a significant amount of people that are saying, you know, it's going to be bullish. That's it, period, right? We pump and we continue pumping. Then 10% dump, then dump more. So that's the lowest percentage. That might be the one that plays out, right? Don't follow the herd when we, you know, try and predict things in trading, right? And technical analysis. Dump, then big pump. We have 15%. Okay, get your votes in. It's going to be interesting to see this before we end the stream later on. And check out the votes on the opinion of what's going to happen after the Fomc and the press conference. But we are here to break the technicals, right? This has taken quite a bit of time, okay? We've been chopping down since the rejection. I did not get into this swing failure pattern, guys, okay? We have to be clear about this. I did not get into this SFP, liquidity grab. I just didn't. It was a bit too aggressive. Of course, it's always an option if you feel, you know, good about it and you want to put stop loss above the high. Liquidity grab above a major pivot high. It's kind of always an option if you do get the rejection, nice rejection beneath it. So with this price action taking so long, you know, I have to say, eventually, this is an individual wave at the moment, right? Because from this pump, this is extremely long, and we need to take into consideration, you know, the bearish case, of course, the bullish case. However, the bullish case is not looking too sexy, I have to say. I'm actually leaning a little bit bearish, guys. However, I wouldn't short where we are at the moment. If we do get that pump on the, as people are saying, pump and dump, it would be nice to sweep up this lower high right there, because what we could have based on a pattern apart from a liquidity grab, right, we end up forming a failed auction SFP scenario here, is a flat. There is a way of counting a pretty solid 5-wave structure to the downside here. It's pretty solid. Okay, it's a pretty solid 5-wave move down. And obviously right over here we have a very classic 3-wave structure to the upside, right? I think we can see it on the chart. We can't make this up. And very choppy here. Also very corrective structure, giving you the option for some double bottom, triple bottoms here. This was actually a very good longing zone based on this information that I want to keep, the educational content as well, explaining how can you detect that from this zone, these are actually good internal double, triple bottoms. If you fail on the first one, get in on the second one, okay, for this relief rally to sweep up these lower highs and maybe even go to higher levels to potentially form that flat. So best case scenario based on the votes that we do have here on the on the poll, which is a pump then big dump, 43%. I'm kind of, that's my favorite scenario if we want to try and predict something based on the Fomc. I'll go through the comment section, guys, right away, okay? But yeah, the idea for this pump and dump would be a 5-wave structure to the downside, a corrective 3-wave up. This is very double zigzaggy. I will go in detail later on this, but let's see if this is the first leg. 1, 2, we get a smashing third wave, boom, 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 and then bam, collapse, right? Try and get a 5-wave move to the upside that looks bullish. We're breaking trend, right? We're breaking the downtrend. Holy smokes, this is bullish. And then eventually we form that failed auction from this pivot high, rejecting at the golden pocket to the 7/8 Fibonacci, right? So yeah, it's an interesting trade setup that we just need to be ready for. I might stay 5-10 minutes as the interest rates kick in, but I think the volatility will come at with a Fed press conference potentially. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Not that we have major levels. We can take a look at previous day value levels, previous day point of control eventually, which is in this range. I mean, that would be stretching the price action all the way up to yesterday's point of control, which is right over here at 93.9k. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is actually the interesting zone for rejection. Okay, either golden pocket, failed auction, or golden pocket, or 7/8 Fibonacci. This is the kind of trade that you want to treat it as a swing. Okay, you want to treat it as a swing. You don't need to risk too much. Okay, because there is the potential that this momentum. We'll zoom in on the 1 hourly time frame, man. I just want to cover everything, guys. I got a lot of stuff here that I want to cover, but without a doubt, that bear flag situation, right? It's a bear flag, right? And we end up breaking down, or at least to claim these lows, I would say, at a bare minimum. There is that possibility that we do have a finished double zigzag. There is a possibility, just because yesterday we took out these highs, okay? And there is a way of counting this as a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down, and a 3-wave finishing here with a triangle on the WXY, 3-wave move up, right? WXY. There is that potential, just because we took out the highs here, to form that zigzag, right? The minimum target of eventually of a zigzag is to take out, the highs of the A wave. So we did take out those highs, and man, it looks interesting. I mean, if this is an impulsive move down and we form a flat here, then eventually we would be, eyeing a potential 5-wave structure to the downside. Okay, I would say, very good chance to sweep up this 87.7k. I mean, it's a nice movement of, $5,000 to $6,000. It could take a couple of days to develop, but it's a setup. It's a very valid setup with the information that we have. And the only zones is this area right over here. Either failed auction from the pivot lower high of today, previous day point of control, get a 5-wave punchy move to the upside, try and detect that 5th wave, right? That's what we try and do. We want to try and detect that 5th wave, and hopefully this is your first wave 1, right? Where we do form a higher low here and then bang, right? We kind of break here trend. We break out, boom, 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 right? And then we want to spot that 5th wave, right? Get some kind of a stop somewhere. And then that 5th wave either at the point of control or either, you know, the 3rd wave might be small and it consolidates here, and then the 5th wave, right? You just need to be paying attention to that potential 3rd wave, and it's a setup, guys, right? Regardless if, you know, we might dump from here, right? It might, I don't know what's going to happen next, but with the information that we have on the chart, I can come to the conclusion that certain patterns can evolve, right? Certain movements can evolve on the chart, and this is why, you know, we get them ready here. And you know, my best conclusion, right? All of those breakout traders, eventually this is a bull flag or whatever, right? And you know, get that pop out, get that kind of fake out, and then obviously roll down. You know, this is very classic, very classic in Bitcoin, right? In crypto in general, right? Fake outs from a major, like a wedgie structure, right? It can be bullish, don't get me wrong. There is the bullish case scenario that we are going to cover today as well. But yeah, this is, you know, based on the information that we have, I have to say, you know, there is that possibility of this being a WXY finished. Okay, and because we have that possibility of a zigzag up, correction wave X, and another zigzag up, taking out these highs, perfect. You have a possibility of a completed corrective structure here in a WXY double zigzag. With the information that we have, with the current rejection that we had yesterday, we can see that, you know, zooming in here, there is a very valid count of a 5-wave structure with increasing volume in the middle. Okay, obviously we're not counting this big pump, but the volume in the middle here, all right, is where it's increased, as you can see on the chart, right? So you got that 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, okay, and then you have the zigzag move to the upside, and this movement down does not look impulsive. It does not look impulsive, which is giving you that chance for the ABC flat, right? Which is, it does look very double zigzaggy. We can go later on detail here why this does look more corrective than impulsive, which is eventually giving you the chance to sweep up the highs here. However, you could form a running flat as well. Running flat is possible. What can we say, right? You know, we don't need to get all the way up here to these levels. But running flats are very rare, and they are difficult to trade, I have to say. Anyway, let's go quickly through the comment section. I got a packed one today, guys. We're going to go in detail on the setups, the levels, you know, what I'm looking for to get into a new trade. I mean, I'm going to bed in an hour or so, right after the stream. I mean, I probably won't, you know, I can't be asked to be awake to trade the volatility here. Make sure to maintain good risk management, because yeah, I mean, we could spike up a few $1,000s, dump down, be careful, maintain risk. Don't, you know, these are the kind of days that you can really screw up, okay, if you don't manage risk and you don't have, a cold mind and just stay, you know, stuck to the risk management, okay? Muy importante. Muy importante. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and then we'll go through the different details that I see here. Nothing to cover on the higher time frame. We covered it in the video update. We covered it throughout the last 1 to 2 weeks. Nothing has really changed. We can cover the scenarios on this momentum to the upside. What patterns, what scenarios do we have? And we can cover, most importantly, this little range that we've had throughout the last few days, right? Try and, detect, what happened throughout this momentum, what's happened throughout this momentum, and most importantly, what's happening here on this rejection. So we can map the situation to talk about the levels and the different scenarios that could develop and where are the trading opportunities that I do see. Okay, so let's say hello to the beautiful community. Now, yes, Staffer one, my man. Slap up the like button. Staffer. Jackie Wood here. Mother always giving support. Staffer, much love to you, brother. Okay, thanks for joining on the stream today. Technical Geeks India. Like, much love to you. Hi, Andy. Big move today. Yes, today is the day, right? Welcome back, brother. Tiramisu, much love. Andy, my man. Zeltao, how are you doing? Dumpamental. Pumpamental. What's going to happen, guys? Mohammed, make sure to leave your votes here, legends, okay? And we'll break down here a little bit of the technicals. There is setups. I am going to give the setups that I am looking for, okay? Mainly on the, on 1 hourly time frame or so. There are some setups, guys, that I'm very, very interested in, and I'm going to talk about them today, guys. So make sure to get excited, to get your, drink of water, get your Coke, get your coffee, tea, whatever. And let's dive in through the technical analysis, legends, okay? Slap up that like button if you wish. And let's just say quick hello, guys, okay, through the comment section. We got a good one, guys. We got a good one. Today's been, I've loved the price action today. The price action has been pretty awesome. It's nice. It's beautiful. It's great. It's just really, it's very predictable. Some certain movements inside of this zone are very, very internally, right? Small movements, but they are very, very predictable. And we can go through that in the next coming minutes. Anyway, let's go. Joe, how are you doing, my man? Today is a no trade day. Well, yeah, also, I mean, if you can manage risk, anything is tradable. With news, without news, well, if you can manage risk, anything is tradable, right? With big news events as well. Okay, I prefer to stay a bit away, but if I have a level that is hit and we get a rejection, I'm happy to enter a trade. I am here. Jason, Momtaz, Delon Rich. I am on long. Let's see. Let's go long position. Make sure to take some TPs and protect position today. Muy importante. We get some volatility today, guys. What's up, YouTube? Memcat, how are you doing? Hello, folks. How are you doing? Crypto Cowboy. Disagree with every poll opinion. My expectation is a very small rise, then more range chop. Also, Powell will say the term dual mandate 10 times. Very true. Same thing. Okay, but different day. Very, very. Yeah, it is possible. We could have put a vote here saying chop, right? We're just going to chop around small movements, no volatility. Yo, Andy Diesel, how are you doing, my man? Good evening, dude. James, much love. Let's pump it. Guys, I haven't got time here to go through every single comment. Okay, it's time. Good evening, Chartist. Rudy, much love, my man. Hope you're doing great. Staffer one, much love. Pac-Man, what's up, legends? Pac-Man, where have you been? Man, this is not good, man. Not good. Don't jump in here after, a month. Bro, where have you been? Come on. Much love to you, my man. Glad to see you around. Path Maria, much love to you. Santa Rally. All right, legends. Enough comment section. CME gap. Oh, wow. Yeah, we do have a CME gap. I forgot about that. I don't take it too much into consideration. Imagine we get a nothing burger. Yeah, nothing burger should have been inside of the poll as a vote as well. But yeah, it might be a nothing burger, guys. Anyway, let's go right away through the scenarios, okay? Higher time frame, we are still downtrending. Nothing to cover on the higher time frame, guys. We know that this could be a corrective bounce. Very possible that this is corrective. It's also possible that it could be a start of an impulsive move, right? It is possible. When we do zoom out, right, and we do check, okay, when we create a pivot low and, we start moving to the upside, we never know. It might be the start of an impulse, right? But, yeah, obviously the bearish scenario does look a little bit better at this moment, okay? Last few days, I was actually quite bullish locally, guys. I mean, as a day trader as well, we are looking for, this to be corrective, okay? So far, the triangle did not play out exactly as I wanted it to, okay, I have to say, because it really squeezed here with slightly higher lows and lower highs right there. But the WXY triangle, you know, it played out, right? The overall idea about this being a move to the upside in an impulse, and for this price action to be corrective, to take out these highs, you know, at the end it did play out, and that was spotted as soon as we got this bounce right over here. Okay, it was spotted as soon as we got this movement to the upside. This is the beauty of Elliott wave theory. It's going to give you that edge on probabilities. And since we got this rally, almost confirming that this movement to the downside was a 3-wave structure, and we do not want to finish a 5-wave move down, a 5th wave in a 3-wave. We want to finish it in a 5-wave. Then this was the edge right over here. Since this movement to the upside, I've been leaning more bullish to take out the highs. Of course, there were several scenarios, many scenarios that could have developed here. All right, we were talking about a rejection in this point just a few days ago on Monday, and several scenarios, either a flat here in this scenario, either a triangle in this range and then pop out, which is the one that played out. But the direction, okay, was to the upside with higher probability. So, you know, with this price action, we got this rally very quick, very fast. You know, we have a problem right now, obviously, with this movement down. And because this corrective structure finished here, it did not finish here, and it did not finish here. It finished here, right? It's very important to understand that, because anybody that has a very, very basic knowledge would just say, well, this is a 1-2-1-2, or this is, you know, I don't know. But eventually not, because we have a 3-wave move to the upside here. And obviously we're not counting this as a wave 1, right? And especially if you have a 5-wave move down here, you know, people are going to get confused. I mean, this was beauty, right? This is actually beautiful, because whoever has a basic knowledge on Elliott wave theory and doesn't take into consideration the internal movements of the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame, which is what we try to do here to spot the probability side of the market, is going to look at this as, this is a 5-wave move down, this is a 3-wave move to the upside. You know, the price should calm down, right, and take out this low, right, and move to lower prices, right? You know, when you look at it, it's like, damn. You know, and we were actually, I say we, but I was actually leaning more on the bullish side, right? That there's a higher chance to take out this high than actually breaking down from this low, right? No, even this low right over here, there was a chance to get to this low based on a zigzag flat and a zigzag down. There was a possibility, but as we were forming that squeeze range here, and this movement to the downside was very likely corrective. You know, this movement down on the 5-15-minute time frame, we talked about this the other day. It's like, I don't like this, looks corrective. So for the moment, triangle is the priority, which, you know, eventually it got squeezed. Okay, I was expecting the triangle to be a bit more symmetrical. It was just very, very sharp. It did squeeze, okay, into this zone, which is okay. I mean, your invalidation for the triangle was taking out this pivot low, okay, because I mean that should have been your A, B, C, D, E here. You don't want to take out that low if you're forming a triangle, so you know that could have given you the stop loss zone, which we did talk about in the Legends Pro community. Okay, Legends Pro community, Devil's been doing the updates today. I did the updates yesterday. I was expecting a bit more of a range, but the stop loss was beneath this zone, you know, entry area, and targeting $94,000 plus. Anyway, let's break down here, Legends. Let's break down. I have to say, you know, let's just go locally on the local price. Well, hang on a minute. Let's slow down a bit and talk about these scenarios. There is the potential, okay, And if we have potential, it's interesting to look for shorts and have a shorting plan. Whoever catched the swing failure pattern from this pivot high yesterday is an absolute legend, right? Let's leave it that way. Whoever shorted here is a legend. That's it. There's no other name for that person. I didn't short, so I need to get into short, right? If this is going to be bearish. However, I would like to see a move up into this area to hit certain levels of resistance. We'll talk about that trading plan in the next coming minutes. And yeah, whoever shorted up here, well, is a legend, because whoever shorted here has an epic entry, has got a small stop loss and doesn't have to worry to look for a re-entry, right? If we do pump to this zone and it might look a bit too bullish, we might get a bit emotional. It's pumping. What do we do, right? Do we have a plan or not? Of course, we're going to create a plan right away on exactly what we need to see, right, at these certain levels and how we need to get up there. Muy importante. Okay, we create plans. Chill out, right? It doesn't matter. There's trading opportunities every day or almost every single day, right? So movements are very detectable, very, very detectable. So we are going to create that plan today, guys. So make sure to sit down, stay chilled, and yeah, we're gonna create those plans right away. But whoever shorted here is a legend. There is the chance of that double zigzag as mentioned, right? Zigzag up, correction, zigzag up. I do not know if this is bullish. There is a bullish scenario, but it's not looking too great from this zone to form a higher low and smash up the highs. I have to say, it doesn't look great based on the chart. And I will go in detail on this. There is a bullish scenario that's actually coming down with a chance to sweep up this low, and I think that this area is very lucrative to look for swing longs. We're gonna go through the plan eventually. Okay, that's also coming in with a higher low support trend line, right? Anybody that likes a bit of trend line, it's coming down to that region as well. Higher low support with some pointer controls of this zone. And there is there's two beautiful Elliott wave scenarios that does suggest that we could get that bounce down here where we do have a daily level. We got a couple of naked pointer controls from this consolidation. And if this turns out to be an impulse, the rejection from yesterday, we form a flat or a running flat, then we start breaking down very aggressively, right? There is that scenario. We want to spot a kind of a 5-wave impulsive move on the 1 hourly time frame. It's going to take a couple of days to develop potentially. So this, we don't want to be really, really chilled about this. This is a higher time frame scenario, but at least unfortunately there is the running flat as well. Anyway, let's cover the bullish scenario. It's locally bearish. Okay, we got two scenarios. One is multiple 1-2. However, there is a problem with this one, and that is time. Time here is a bit of a problem because you have your first wave 1, your wave 2, your second wave 1. That's all good, smaller in time and price action than your first wave 1. However, if this is going to be a flat where we have a zigzag down and we have a complex, a WXY here, which is a flat, a triangle, and then, the movement up here, which can be turned into a 3-wave structure. All of this can be turned into 3-wave structure, okay, because you have a flat, a triangle, and a zigzag, which your C wave is very sharp. However, it's countable. It's very, very countable here. There's nothing bullish about this movement to the upside from this pivot. If you try and count an impulse from this pivot low, something bullish about this, a double 1-2, kind of not possible. This is a 3-wave structure. you know, 1 2 1 2, I don't think so. It doesn't fit nicely with this 3-wave move to the upside. So this fits better as a 3-wave structure. If this movement to the upside fits better as a 3-wave structure, you know, I have to say, the bearish scenario looks more interesting here locally. Okay, it does look like that we could be getting that leg down here. So I mean, the problem is with this, with the WXY that we mentioned yesterday. Okay, well, in the last few days, the problem is if this is a WXY sideways complex corrective structure, and we rallied here, okay, with a new wave. This is a new wave because the correction, as explained before, you know, finishes here. It doesn't finish here, right? Or here. It finishes at the end of the triangle. So this is an individual wave right there. It's a new wave. It's not part of this structure. You can form it as a part of that structure, but if you're counting the bullish case, which is 1 2 1 2, you know, and this is your wave 1, and you're looking for another 2 here, I mean, it is possible. It is possible. However, you know, the time is a problem here. Time is a big problem because this is at this moment, I mean, is like 7-8 times longer than this pump, which is not great. You know, that is really definitely affecting the probabilities to be bullish here, without a doubt. 1 2 1 2 1, and this being so long in time from the pump that we had yesterday, it's not great. Of course, you know, market structure is bullish and that's what counts. There is a possibility, but it's not great based on timing, right, on this corrective move. So, you know, there is a chance. I would have to give it a chance that this is a 1 2, a 1 2, finishing on the triangle complex WXY, and this is a 1 and 2 right there. However, you know, it's not looking that great. And this is why we want to pack this movement up combined with this movement right over here, right? You want to combine it, because if you want to take this individually with a 1 and a 2, you know, it's extending in time too much for this to be part of the corrective structure of this impulse. It's taking too long. So we need to consider bearish alternatives locally that could take us down, okay? Especially considering the local structure here, which fits very nicely as a 5-wave move down, and now we form a flat or a running flat, and you know, we actually break down. I'm actually feeling a little bit bearish, guys. I'm not positioned in a short, but I would like to, and if we do get a pump, if I'm around into that old daily level, into the golden pocket, and form a flat here, this is going to be the decision zone, kind of back testing this area, right? You're back testing the SFP of yesterday, right? Where you just, it's a back test basically, right? So yeah, we'll go in detail on the possible short scenario here. That's if we get up there, of course. We'll go through the 15-minute in a second, but with the scenarios, one of them is this one, which is a problem, but I have to say it's valid, where you have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 1, you have 3-wave down, 3-wave up, very complex 3-waver, WXY, where you have a flat, a triangle, okay, and a zigzag, very sharp zigzag here. It's possible, it counts better as a 3-waver. Then you move down very aggressively in a 5-wave move here to the downside. It's in our best interest to detect the 5th wave. Once you get the movement down with high volume, we want to see a stop, okay? In the case of yesterday, I wanted to see a stop and claim the highs again. It didn't happen. So anybody that's was feeling a bit snipey, then catched a very, very good level, stop loss at the high, entered at the zone. You know, I just was not interested with that movement up. I was already in a long, took some profits, and you know, happy days. I don't want to rush into a trade here with high volume. So it's in our best interest, because I mean, I will talk about the other scenario, which is bearish, but it still brings a big jump to the upside, considering that we could form a flat here. There's a problem. This wave 2 is longer than your first wave 2, so that is a problem. That is a problem. Usually your second wave 2s, you want them shorter in time. In time, I'm talking here, not price action, but also in price action. You want them shorter, you know, similar or shorter in time. And this one is, you know, is going to be like over 2 times longer than this first wave 2, which is eventually a problem. But we have to consider it. Regardless, if we form an impulse, because inside of an ABC flat, your C wave is an impulse. Okay, it is a very aggressive move down in a 5-wave structure. It's in our best interest to detect the 5th wave. So, you know, whenever that big volume move happens, if it does, today, tomorrow, I don't know, right? Once it happens, we need to wait for some kind of a corrective structure. And then the 5th wave is the one that we are interested in jumping into the long position. And you might think, well, where, you know, is going to be, you know, the moment? Well, you got an SFP level right over here. You know, that's a decent level for a swing failure pattern. If the price action is moving down like this in the next coming days, if you got high volume here in the middle, boom, you get that corrective stop, you know, 4th wave. It might be here. I don't know where it's going to be, guys. You know, this is the thing. You got a point, you got a naked point of control, you got a daily here as well. So that the 3rd wave might stop here, and then the 5th wave, you know, tries to move down, you know, throughout the next couple of days. Then you got then it's your mission to detect that 5th wave. Look for that 5-wave structure internally on the 5th wave, coming down to interesting levels where the price could get the reaction. Either this pivot low for a swing failure pattern, you're looking for a significant reversal bounce. Okay, it's a higher low that we had on the 7th of December, sitting at 87.7k. Very valid if the wave 3 has finished and's got a slowdown in a 4th wave. Also, coming down to, you know, the 5th wave, the 3rd wave might be extremely aggressive, right? And then the 5th wave is coming down to the point of control, naked point of controls, and the daily here, which is going to be also very, very interesting, right? You need that 5th wave development to then look for the longs, all right, to claim above the 4th wave. But that's literally going to be the entry zone once we detect that 5th wave, right? But you need that information. So it's all about spotting. Hang on a second. It's all about spotting that 3rd wave, right? And once that 3rd wave develops, right, which, you know, the clearest example that we could give you is this one from last week, right, where you have your first push to the upside, right, and then you get the big, massive pop to the upside, and then you start creating the 5th wave. It's getting that slowdown, as you can see here. So this would be the same scenario if it does turn out, right, to be bearish. You want that big move and then that slowdown, right, which is going to be that 5th wave detection into levels of support, so we can spot that possible reversal bounce, right? It's the same scenario as this pump, but inverted, right? And you want the price coming to levels of support. SFP, perfect. If the 3rd wave stops before getting that, you know, into that SFP level, and the 5th wave comes down there, bingo. Right, this is the zone. You know, if it stops, the 3rd wave comes all the way down to this pivot, right, and it forms that SFP just to form the 4th wave, and then the 5th wave comes down to the point of control, naked point of control daily level of this zone, then that's the zone that we're looking for the reversal. Okay, so it's just a little bit of what we could be looking at. Of course, on the that's speculating on an ABC flat. Of course, we're taking into consideration the structure here. We have the bullish case, which doesn't look too great because your wave 2 would be quite longer than your first wave 2. And then there's the corrective structure, which is mimicking this scenario, okay, the double 1-2. However, what we would be looking at, instead of being a multiple 1-2, where you have 1-2, 1-2, and then you break up very aggressively, you move to the upside, but it ends up being a zigzag. So you have a possibility of a zigzag here. The flat scenario, preferably sweeping up the lows of the A wave, which is the most common, you know, scenario for a flat. Okay, running flats are rare, but you could form a running flat, form a higher low, and then move up. We're just going to have to analyze the movement down in the next couple of days. And this is what, you know, why it becomes interesting. If we were to move down, right, it breaks down. 5-wave structure is what we are looking for into levels of support, and we need to detect the 5th wave. The 5th wave is the one that's going to give us the reversal, either for the SFP or either coming down to these lows. If we don't SFP from here, then we look for these levels of support, right, and really look at the 5-15 minute time frame to detect, you know, that end of the 5th wave structure. So yeah, there's a little bit here of what we got. Of course, the bearish case scenario is finished WXY. This is the thing right now. There is the potential of this being the finished WXY, which ends up, you know, breaking down in a 5-wave move. We are looking for that bounce regardless. However, the bounce is going to be corrective, right? And then we actually break down in a 3rd wave to the downside. It will be our mission, if we're looking for longs on the 5th wave here, either, you know, even though it's bearish, you know, this is going to be the zone, interesting zone for longs. It will be our mission to detect the correction here, to either jump into a short and aggressively take profits eventually from that long that is taken once we see that price action. So, and yeah, well, the bullish case is multiple 1-2s, guys. You know, there is a possibility. However, we got a bit of a problem here with time. Okay, 1-2, 1-2. If this is a 1 and this is a 2, the only problem because of this is, as mentioned, you know, the triangle. You know, this literally finishes right over here, and this is a, you know, an individual wave. And if you are counting this as part of the correction, you know, it's that there is a problem based on time here. And this is very, very long eventually, just after this big pump that was just a couple of candlesticks on the 1 hourly. Anyway, let's dive in through the 15 minute now. Yes, guys, let's go through the 15 minute. That's where we have the meat and potatoes. That's, you know, a bit of a higher time frame scenarios. But mamma mia, I do think that this could be a wave 1 and 2. Okay, I think that this could be a wave 1 and a wave 2. I do think that it is looking interesting for that 3rd wave pop here, legends. I think a flat or maybe this is a 3-wave correction. I have to say maybe, but it is looking interesting, especially because of this movement to the downside, legends. This movement to the downside is extremely corrective, and that's the beauty of Elliott wave theory. I mean, this came down to the golden pocket as well, from the pivot low of yesterday, right? These higher lows to the highs coming into the golden pocket. How nice is that, right? From the start of the pump to the end of the pump, golden pocket, most respected Fibonacci. There you have it. Nice little pump of, you know, $1,000, right? All of those intraday traders. However, what is interesting, if you do know a bit of Elliott wave theory and you have that edge, you know, you realize that, yeah, this okay, it counts okay for a 5-wave move down. This clearly, once we got this pop to the upside And then we got this retracement. You know, it was clearly a three-wave structure. I mean, come on, right? If the third wave does not continue, right, successfully, and you have a three-wave move up and it comes down to hit this pivot, you know, you're likely going to take out this low, right? Then what becomes interesting here is that you have a three-wave up. Let's see if this is an impulse to the downside. And, you know, this is why it was very lucrative to look for internal double bottoms here. Because when you analyze this price action to the downside, you got this movement down. All right, let's get the waves here, get them a bit thick so you can see them. Little tiny bounce, next move down. You got a bit of a zigzag move. You got a high right there. This high got above this high. So now you got, you know, now you're looking at a few scenarios here. There we go, guys. We're getting the pump. We're getting the pump, legends. Looks like that we're going to get that 5-wave move to the upside. This could be the third wave pop, where we have 1, 2, 3. We're developing third wave potentially right now into the meeting. Oh my goodness, this might be a pump it sell the news event, right? It's pumping just 20 minutes before the interest rate decision. Oh, holy smokes! If we get that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, in the next, you know, 30 minutes, 1 hour, right? We're developing a third wave here, possibly, and then fourth wave, and then fifth wave, and then eventually, I don't know, but it depends if you're going to really aggressively move down later on, or if you're going to correct to the downside, and off we go to higher levels, right? In the next coming days, it turns out to be bullish, but overall, I just want to go through the education about this, guys, which is, man, I just love seeing this because this is actually pretty awesome price action where you have, you know, if you are trying to detect a movement down here in an impulse, right? If you have an impulsive move down and you have a three-wave structure here to the upside, you know, you want to see an impulse down, right? Because you could be looking for a 1, 2, 1, 2, boom. You know, it ends up being very, very bearish. However, I mean, this price action that I was just pointing out right now, there was nothing impulsive about this movement to the downside. And, you know, if you are looking for a wave 1 and a wave 2, your wave 2s most commonly, you know, do get to 50% Fibonacci, maybe golden pocket. I mean, this didn't even hit the 382 Fibonacci. And the 236 bounce is more common for some kind of a corrective BX wave, right? So the problem here was, you know, the next leg to the downside as well, right? You got the next leg down, and then you have a zigzag here. If you are considering this a 1, 2, 1, 2, first of all, your first 1, 2, your second, okay, your first 2 did not even hit, you know, 382 Fibonacci. This one is very long in time. This is extremely longer, right, in time compared to your first wave 2. With all of that, you're already thinking, okay, you know, this ain't looking too great. Then you come and claim this low. And even though you got a 5-wave move to the downside here, hear me out, because this was highly predictable. We even talked about the flat at the beginning of the stream when we were trading in the zone. So the thing is about this movement is there's nothing impulsive about this. You know, this has to be you know, part of a corrective structure, you know, when we're combining this with this. So eventually, if this is looking corrective and you got a corrective move up, you know, your flat is your option. The flat is your main option here. So when we consider Elliott wave theory rules, you might think, hey, we got a 5-wave move to the downside though, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you know, I know a lot of you, you know your stuff, right? You know your stuff. This ain't no 5-wave impulsive move. This ain't no 5-wave Elliott wave, structure. You had overlap from this wave 4 with the wave 1, right? Overlap right over there. Your wave 3 is the smallest wave, I think. I might be wrong actually here. Let me just take a look at that, because I might be screaming here about this being the shortest wave, and it's not. It wasn't. Sorry, my bad. It wasn't. My bad. So yeah, pointing out here that this was the shortest wave. But anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter. We had overlap from your wave 4 and your wave 1. Oh my goodness, what a pump and dump right now that we're getting. Bit of action here, guys. Holy smokes. Big rejection here. We're going to analyze this right away. Well, big rejection. I'm on the 5-minute time frame, guys. This zooming out is a very tiny move, but anyway, it's important to see what is developing here. Anyway, continuing with this scenario, this would have to be an expanding diagonal, because if you connect your wave 1 and 3 and your wave 2 and your wave 4, it would have to be an expanding diagonal because you have overlap from your wave 4 and your wave 1. However, your wave 5 was not longer than your wave 3, and you need your wave 5 longer than your wave 3 in an expanding diagonal. So all of this was BS to be a bearish move. Okay, all of this was like, yeah, this is why a double zigzag here was very, very, very interesting. And we literally formed a double zigzag. This is why, this is the moment, once you got this price action, that you understand that this is unlikely a bearish move with what I explained, which makes it very interesting to look for the local double bottoms here. And what you would be looking for is a double zigzag or some kind of a sideways corrective structure. So what you did have here was the zigzag down, boom, boom, bam, right? You got zigzag to the upside, and then a low, lower high, and another low right there. You like it or not, it's a double zigzag. You like it or not, it's a corrective double zigzag, and it's not impulsive. And this can be spotted, all the way since this price action. You understand that this is unlikely going to be an impulse, and it's in your best interest to look for longs. I'm interested in double bottoms in this area because of this information. And if you have a zigzag up here and you're forming a very corrective structure to the downside, you're very, very likely looking for a flat, running flat or expanding flat that takes out the highs. Flats can also be running, right, where you do not take out the high of your A wave. And what is interesting about this eventually is that you did bounce at the flat targets, which you get your fib extension from your 3-wave move to the upside. Okay, we're keeping it educational, guys, because we can speculate on some scenarios right now, but we like to obviously give the education because people want to understand, why did we bounce, right? Why are we moving up, or why didn't we continue lower? Well, it's all on the chart. The chart gives you a story, and it tells you the power of the price action. It tells you the weakness. And obviously this is weak price action to the downside that has low probability in continuing down aggressively, right? And you are looking for some reversal bounce. And that's when you use your knowledge to combine it with the previous waves, right? You need to combine the previous waves so you can understand that what could be happening here is a flat. Okay, so coming down to the perfect target zone eventually, looking at the Fibonacci extension, which is your second tool right over here. You do have the 1236 to the 1382. That is exactly where the price got the bounce. This is the extension from your A wave. And yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Okay, very, very corrective price action, very lucrative to get into some long positions at these double triple bottom area. Okay, so now eventually a short is actually quite interesting. However, we need to discuss this price action eventually. Let's get this out of the way. Hope you did like that explanation from this locally here. You know, to basically spot, right? This is why when we say we need that information, is to try and detect the probability side of what could happen next. And as mentioned, if you can detect this movement down as not impulsive and yes, corrective, right, and double zigzag, because when you use your Elliott wave knowledge, you're like, okay, wave 4 overlap wave 1, this should be an expanding diagonal. It's not. Well, this is not impulsive, right? So, and what is likely is corrective, then you need to use obviously the complex double zigzag possibility right there. And that's when you combine the previous waves. If you do have a 5-wave move here and you have a 3-wave move up here and this looks corrective, well, then the flat is your main option. The flat is your main option here. So with this flat, you know, if the problem is right now is, okay, we need to see how this movement develops. I would say that this is too soon still. Too soon to understand what is going to happen exactly next. I would label this as potentially the third wave getting developed. If we are increasing in volume and we go to higher prices, man, the news is coming in 13 minutes, and then we have 45 minutes. We do have the Fomc press conference. I mean, we don't know how the news is gonna play, guys. Okay, sometimes the news is gonna break the technicals. Sometimes the news is gonna do whatever it wants. It's maybe gonna absolutely dump, and then we would say, okay, it was a running flat, and then we'll continue with the analysis tomorrow. And if it takes a big massive pump, well, it will end up being, okay, this was the impulse and this was the correction, even though it did take forever. Based on time, and if it rockets from here with the news, you know, we're just gonna have to accept it, guys. Okay, this is why when there is news events that could be very powerful, you know, if you are the best technical analyst out there and you can predict so many movements, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you know, the news can, you know, break the chart. Okay, at least in the short term. So that's why sometimes it's better just to sit on the hands if you're not feeling confident in trading when there is news, even though we have a trading plan. Because I have to say, this does lean better for the price to not take out the highs. You know, if you give me a favorite scenario, as my favorite scenario in the last few days was looking at all of this to be corrective and take out $94,000 based on this last move down, guys. Remember, we explained this in detail as well. 3-wave structure down. I longed here. I didn't long the double bottom. I was like, yeah, well, let's see, because we're breaking down. This could be a third wave. Once we overlapped here, I entered late. I don't care. I mean, I'm putting stop loss here. I'm happy to get stopped out. I'm managing risk. I'm taking the chance. And because that happened, we instantly gave the flat a good chance here. 3-wave up, 3-wave down, bang, right? Take out the highs. And then as we were continuing the range here, I was like, guys, this is looking good. This is looking good to take out $94,000. You know, I'm not counting this as a 5-wave structure and a 3-wave up and then go down. You know, that's when you have that experience, you understand that I prefer the price to take out the highs here instead of rolling over, which end up doing that, right? It was just the highest probability based on the analysis, guys. On the If you were to ask me, like a few days ago, which, you know, my favorite scenario a few days ago, I mean, this was okay to enter a short. We talked about this on the daily update. The probabilities in getting a rejection here were very, very high. We explained that on the video update on Monday, which was okay to enter a short. I actually entered a short here, not incredibly big, but it got stopped out later on and just maintained the long position. But if you were to ask me right now, I prefer the dump down to get below 90,000 and even lower than actually take out this high. I think the price is going to struggle. But we have the news event, you know, we don't know. With the Fomc press conference and interest rate cut, we know it's going to be 25 basis point. It might just pop out, guys. You know, we seriously don't know. We can have a plan, and, you know, my best plan that I would give you guys is obviously a regular flat, but, you know, we just maybe, you know, this is still developing 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, you know, and then it rolls over. But we would have to, if it is going to end up being a running flat, you know, running flats are not the best to enter, especially with this kind of price action. This does look a bit three wavy for the moment, so it could be a double 1 2, and then the third wave breaks throughout the news, and we get that internal volatility that creates that 1 2 3 4 5. But you have a double 1 2 and you have a double 4 5, you know, coming into the previous day point of control, which is sitting at here, all the way here, hitting the 7/8 Fibonacci, right, really stretching its legs, and then rolls over, right, which is kind of back testing the highs here. I mean, I have to say, this is without a doubt maybe a possibility. That creates a double 1 2, it blasts off, right, and it just chops around before taking out this high of yesterday at 94.6. If this happens throughout the news and it only gets a pump and it struggles at this range where you have this naked point of control, previous day point of control, right, and back test of the highs here of the 4th of December, it's going to be a very, very lucrative to take the chance here eventually for that rollover. But man, I have to say, it's not going to be easy with the news, because we know what happens with the news. You get a pump and then a dump and then a dump and pump, and, you know, it's just it is a bit noisy, right? Trading the news is quite noisy. But preferably eventually, if I am speculating that this is the highest probability that this is a impulsive move, and a flat or a running flat, right, is the highest probability for the moment with the information that we have, at least for me, right? Because, I mean, yes, this could be an impulse when we finish the triangle structure. However, I mean, man, this is extended so much in time eventually, from this being the impulse, which I'm not giving it the highest probability. So I'm giving the highest probability to the bears locally here, guys, unfortunately. So yeah, it's either flat or running flat is what I do see here. Okay, with the highest probability at the moment. Not that, you know, I'm in no short trade at the moment. I am in no short trade, but I would give the ABC flat here the highest probability to break down in a third wave throughout the next 24 to 48 hours, regardless if we go higher or not. Levels of resistance is the previous day point of control. We do have the golden pocket area, right, which is sitting just above this pivot high of today. Old daily level point of control is actually a bit higher, more at the 7/8. It's not going to be easy, you know. You really have to detect that third wave. It's not going to be easy. If this ends up being a double 1 2, which it does look like for the moment, 1 2 1 2, and then bang, 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 you need that big high volume move and then the choppiness into resistance. That's the moment that you can say, okay, this is an ABC flat, time to look for shorts. It's stop loss at the high. There's no more to it. If this ends up being an impulse and this a flat, your stop loss, unless you're getting into a good entry on the lower time frames and you know what you're looking for at certain levels, it could be the golden pocket, it could be the point of control, or the naked point of control here from yesterday. It could be, if you know that your levels and you know your strategy, but your hard stop loss is literally 94.6, which is yesterday's highs, if you're going to end up, breaking down in a third wave in the next couple of days. So let's go right away through the comment section, guys. Hang on a minute. Did you say about something about a decentralized platform, guys? Make sure to check out Velto, guys. Decentralized platform, which you just connect your wallet. It can be MetaMask, Ledger, any wallet that you have. Super simple. You get a small little tutorial as soon as you click the link down below. Okay, it's the second link down below. My go-to decentralized trading platform, which is Velto. Okay, the next Hyperliquid. If you are scared of middlemen, centralized exchanges, you don't want to basically deposit or do any of that, you can connect your wallet directly to this platform and there's no third party, all right, which is absolutely phenomenal. You have full custody of your funds, which is absolutely great. The good thing about Velto is they have very competitive fees, guys. Anybody that's interested, you got the second link down below to join Velto right away. It is time. I'll be trading more there in the near future, okay, on Velto, because I want to step away from, centralization, but still centralized exchange are the go-to for a lot of people, okay, where they have, lots of liquidity. Bluffing would be my one to go, and you got some great perks on bluffing, guys, okay. $1,000 bonus on the table here, depending on what you deposit. If you deposit 7,000, you get 1,000. Take advantage, guys. Bluffing is giving these perks, okay, while you sign up with the link down below, which is the first one. Let's go through comment section. Staffer1, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining. Bit of a dumpy action here. Man. Probably hit the daily open. Let me just double check here. We probably we got above the daily open and now back below. Yeah. Not too fond here of doing anything at the moment. Especially when we have the news in 2 minutes, legends. We got the news in 2 minutes. Well, the interest rate cut, which we already know it's very likely going to be 25 basis points, and it's kind of priced in. And then in 30 minutes, we do have the Fed press conference. I am not going to be covering this. I will be ending the stream very, very shortly. However, thank you for joining in eventually. And, I would like to see here. Let's take a look at this price action, because, yeah, I have to say. Yeah, so far this movement is just about to be a double 1-2. If you lose this pivot low, which it almost did, right, we got the bounce up, the flat scenario, the move up that it did look like it was going to be a third waver. You have the chance here for the bulls locally to pump up. It might we got the news right now, it might either dump or pump, but if you take out this internal higher low, this will likely be corrective. Okay, this will likely be a corrective move down, giving a high chance to take out the low. But I think a double 1-2 here with the interest rate cut right now, we might be getting the stock market pumping. Let's take a look. Got the interest rate cut right away in the next coming minutes. We might be getting that internal volatility. Oh yeah, it has a chance here for a double 1-2, I have to say. Let's see if it pops out. Boop. Then what I would be looking at is that 4-5 scenario here, and that will be the moment okay, into resistance that we're looking for the reversal. Then you got a proper 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. Just missed that lower. Cheeky. I think we're going to take out the highs here. That was cheeky. Man, we're gonna take out those highs. Yeah. Oh, at least the local ones. Man, that was so cheeky. Ended up in a double 1-2 right there. Popping out now with some pretty nice volume. Let's go. Come on, Bitcoin. Oh, that volatility, man. Volatility kicking in here. We're pumping, we're dumping. What are we doing? Yeah. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful legends. A bit of local volatility. Claim the highs. Oof. Man. That was a bit of a quick sniper trade, guys, right? I have to say, I did not catch this. But I would have to say that was a pretty valid sniper entry. Oh, man, what an SFP, just exactly to the dollar. I did not catch this, guys. I was a bit distracted here looking at some other things. So, but it was a very, very valid sniper trade, right? Very, very valid entry, right? It just gives you a good stop loss. If this ends up being the high, my goodness, guys, you got an epic entry. If anybody got in here. Oh, man, this could turn out to be the absolute dump. Man, I missed out on this. I don't know what I was doing. I was reading something here on the right. But this was a very, very good sniper entry. Just to maintain, just for risk management. I mean, this has the potential eventually, if this is a wave 1 and this is an ABC flat, this has insane potential to nuke down. Man, that was quick. That was very, very quick. Muy rápido. Muy rápido. You need to be John Wayne here. If you're interested in getting into these snipes. But man, that was a good entry, and this really has the potential to bring insane profits in the next couple of days if this turns out to be an ABC flat. Holy smokes, there we go. That was a bit of a sniper trade, guys. Whoever entered that, then absolute legend. Whoever entered the short here is a legend. Don't try catching the rocket's tail. I mean, if you have the level on the chart, it's a trade that you can get into, right? I mean, if you can sniper the trade as long as you have your stop loss where it needs to be, right? This is already making a 3-4 to 1 risk to reward. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all about, hey, put a few peanuts in, right? Put $5 if you're feeling scared about the situation. And trust me, when you start risking less, you will realize how good you are trading. When people are bad at trading is when they risk too much. That's when you're bad, because you get emotional and you start doing stupid things, right? And closing position or adding to the position and stuff like that. I'm telling you guys, if you have the knowledge from what you see on the channel, if you've been following here long enough, if you apply that knowledge to look for the setups and you try getting in with $5, $10 or $20 or $100, it depends on what peanuts is for you, I can tell you, you're going to see how good you are at trading when you're using less capital, which should be 1 to 2% of your trading funds, right? Which is, it is 1 to 3% because there is a reason behind it. because if you're using 20% of your account, you know, that's too much. You're going to get emotional. You're going to be, you know, you're going to get stopped out 2 times and you're going to literally lose 30% of your account and be like, wow, well, that was a big hit. It's a slow, consistent growth, guys. Try it with small amounts and you'll see how good you are in trading. Trust me, your emotions will stay away when you risk peanuts on your trades, and that's how you need to get going until you build confidence with bigger amounts. CVD is bearish. Very true, says Machu Picchu. Much love to you, brother. Much love to you. It did not SFP on Bybit. I mean, I am using. Oh, okay. I'm using Coinbase. It didn't touch the highs on Bybit. Let me double check here. On Bybit US dollar tether, it did not touch. You're right. You're completely right. You are completely right there. It maybe did on Bybit US dollar perpetual. Oh, it did not. It did not. Yeah, so it was not an easy trade, right? It was on some exchanges it did SFP and on some it did not. So yeah, it was not I was on Coinbase and it did hit the highs. So yeah, I probably would have taken it, maybe. I don't know, because I was just looking at Coinbase chart. But it did not take the highs on Bybit and maybe some other platforms either. So good point there. Not an easy trade, okay, with the news as well. Interesting right now, just a bunch of pump in dumps and then pump again. It's a bit noisy, guys, I have to say. A bit noisy. I'm not interested in doing much here at the moment. I am not in any short positions, okay? Just maintained that long position that I had from a few days ago, and you know, I have taken a bit more profits on the rejection yesterday. When I said, somebody asked, when are you going to take more profits on the long position, right, from the last few days? And I said, as soon as we start rejecting a little bit, because I realize it could either be a 4 and 5 or maybe it's a 3-wave structure, maybe it's the end, it SFPs from these highs. As soon as we start rejecting a little bit, you know that you're not going to get continuation to the upside in a strong, you know, pump. So once we rejected, I took a bit more profits from this long, okay, that was from Sunday. And in no shorts, I have not taken any shorts. And I did take a short here, but it got stopped out, okay, with the pump. And I haven't short in the last, you know, 24 hours. I haven't taken a short, so I am interested in shorting, but it's late. I might not. If it rolls over, it is what it is. I would have preferred this to be more of a regular flat, get to higher levels, have a little bit of, you know, clearer information here in a 5-wave move up, preferably with no news, where it's just going to create a bunch of noise, which I don't know what the heck's going to happen, guys. Sometimes you just want to let the price do what it needs to do, and tomorrow's another day and we'll have a new structure, a new pattern, a new formation, regardless if it's down or up, and we have new opportunities, right? So sometimes you just don't need to trade every single move. And if we roll over from here, I would say, well, yeah, this was kind of the scenario that I preferred to end up rolling down, but it's just not a great day with the volatility that we have from the news, especially now in the next 20 minutes. We do have the Fed press conference, and who knows, it might end up with a massive pump or it might end up with a massive dump. But if you ask me, I prefer the lower high from this pivot, okay, and actually break down. That's what I would be leaning on, the highest probability scenario based on the information that we have on the chart. Which, I mean, I have to say, of course, there is that possibility of the price being bullish, and this is a bullish move up, and this is a corrective move down. and it ends up blasting off, guys. I have to say it's very, very valid as well. However, the timing is the only problem here. This is like very, very long from this wave. So yeah. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Much love to everybody. Remember that down below, bluffing is one of my favorites. You do get great bonus down below, guys. You have $1,000 deposit bonus. Okay, as you can read here, once you click on the link down below, bluffing is absolutely awesome. Great exchange. You got the bonuses down below. First link, okay, and the decentralized platform is the second link, Velto, guys. Connect your wallet, full custody of your funds, very competitive fees. Check out the official link down below, which is the second one, guys. Long or short, Andy, Staffer one, my man. News was positive. I mean, yeah, what? Oh, we do have the economic projections that have been coming out right now. I'm not going through this, guys. Okay, I know that Tom Crown does a good job on going through the economic projections and the Fed press conference. But yeah, 25 basis point, which was very much expected, and a bit of local volatility, right? Not much really. Pump and dump, then pump again. Not interested, guys. Tomorrow we're going to have new information, new predictions, new possibilities. I have to say, I prefer, based on the information, that we do form a lower high. But I think it's not worth it with the Fomc economic projections coming in the next 20 minutes. You know, he might say something, you know, he might say, I'm going to print trillions of dollars next month. and then obviously all assets start flying, right, based of inflation coming, right? You just never know, right? At the end of the day, when there's these, you know, these big players come out to say the news, right? Imagine he says, you know, I think we're going to print $4 trillion, right, throughout Q1 of 2026, and then, you know, assets start flying. So yeah, you just never know. Obviously he won't say that, but just in case. Love from Pakistan. Shayan Raza, how you doing, brother? Much love. Staffer, always giving love and support, my man. Prison Mike, how about Ethereum? You know what? I will take a look at Ethereum mañana, tomorrow, not today. Let's bring Ethereum back to life. I haven't been doing any altcoins, nothing, guys. I've been literally taking a look at Bitcoin mainly, okay? And screw altcoins. Good to see you, brother, from Pakistan. Much love. Mr. Sante, Andy, thanks for the very useful online experience. Mr. Sante, much love, guys. Have a great evening, a great night. Make sure to smash up the like button on your way out, guys. Let's do a like recount because, my goodness. Come on, legends. We can do better than that. 225 likes. We were almost 700 people watching just 30 minutes ago. Let's get to 300 likes. Come on. We do the education. We do the scenarios, the possibilities. Give a bit of love, legends. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow.